everything's looking good. Tracks look great. They dried and everything seems to be tight. So I'm really liking that. And then I put these, I don't know what they would really be considered. They're just beams. They have the detail on the one side. The other one doesn't really have any detail to it. I do know the conveyor belt, I believe, lays on top of this. For, I can actually put this in. There's a conveyor belt that lays across there, so it's kind of like a support. And it'll fit right in between the two walkways here. So that's what those are. But in order to get those in, I wouldn't be able to really do it later unless I just slid them in and just kind of pick the spot, because they did have the little holes for the stick filament in. So it's best to get these in, and the instructions say to do that, and everything's lining up good. I can still hit the bottom, and those are, so it makes sense to do that. Interior's all cleaned up. Got it glued to the exterior wall, since it's just a really thin, all this out here, and here is all really thin. It just was probably an easier way to print it, because to have detail on both sides would be kind of hard. But we are ready to glue at least one side, and then we can do the interior, the rest of the stuff, while we have this other side open. Like doing the back plate. I really wanted to wait until I got one of these walls in, so I could really see how that back plate needs to fit. You will go here and kind of sit like that. And will you still slide behind? Yes, you do. And you also have a way to make me know where everything sets. So yeah, and then on this back plate, I want to drill holes for the furnace to have flickering lights back there. Give it a little animation inside the ship. Plus, and then I have some stuff to do, and we'll have to wire that stuff, and then we'll chase a wire up through. We'll chase a wire up through here, because we have plenty of space to get wire through. And that's the whole cavity, because if you see with this wall on, all this up from here up is open, which probably is exactly where this falls. Yep. So we have ways of getting in and out. I'm going to do some lights up here. And then this is probably where I'll put a battery pack, and then I'll make one of the roof panels just able to come off. Oh, I did have to chop this pipe here, because I was looking, there's a grate. I was like looking at the grates, and I'm like, they only give you like a little notch, like for a pipe, like a skinny pipe. But that pipe's huge. And I'm like, how's that going to work? Well, this one I could at least, the pipe then come down, so I could just give it a little sand and a file so that this plate will fit in there. The other one, as you can see, it has the same little notch. Actually, this is the one, because the top one has the railing holes, because the upper walkway has railings. But this one here, you can't, yeah, so I'm going to have to figure out this diameter and then make a notch in the other one. But this one here, I can slide it right underneath it, and that's fine, and that's good. But now we'll get this wall on quick. That's enough of me going rambling on the things. But how do I want to attack this? So I put, and I'm talking mainly about the filament. So I want to, let's see how well, yeah. Do I want to put it in here first? And then slide those in? Or do I put it in here and slide it onto that? I know I got some depth there to go in. I know I have some depth. Probably not as much on this lower one because it was hard to drill. I should have drilled it before. I should have drilled it before I glued all this together because as you can see it's hard to get any strength in here. And then the top one can't be too deep because it's only got this edge is only like that thick that it goes into, but I want them nice and long. This one I can get in really deep, so yeah, that went all the way to there because you got it triangles. We'll probably do a dry fit too, just to make sure. Now this one I can get in there pretty deep. And I do like this reusing a filament for like the scrap ends like this. Little scrap ends that, you know, when you're done, when it won't print anymore. Mine has a sensor up there to let you know that you run out of filament, but so you're always left with like a little piece like this. We're going to cut you a little shorter because we can't. Might have to cut all you guys a little shorter. Shorter will definitely give you more strength because it's not going to be so flexible, but I was hoping to have a little more in there. Are you gonna? You know what I mean? Just gotta get this top one in. Needs to go up and kind of over. At least I think so. Or is it just going to be a pain in my butt in the first place? Sometimes you got to make sure you have a clean cut. Let's also make sure our hole here is bored out. Alright, make sure that landing peg's out of the way. I'm glad the bottom one's lining up right away. That one's not taking much to line up right away. It's just you. Light. There it is. I'm going to kind of try to get it. Well, I got to get glue on all over that edge. So it's just going to be a bastard all around. Like I said, now I know we're going to have to pull this bottom down, which will pull all this tight. But I think the best thing is do like what I just did, is to get it tight against this here and then pull these down together. Well, we're just going to have to deal with the pain in the ass that it is. So we'll do the heavier glue down here at the bottom because it will take it a hair longer to set up. Nothing to it but to go for it. It's time to get some more super glue. These have had so long that the thick is more than thick. It's like molasses on a cold day. Timer starts the clock. I got that one. Got that one. And we're probably gonna have to struggle with that one. Nope. There we go. We got that nice and tight. Now we can start pushing this down. We'll push down, and I got this edge here where I can pull tight. I don't know if I can flip it upside down and use the weight of the whole ship. What else? To keep that together, and I try to get a little bit of tape there. Some wide tape. Get it stuck on there good. At least that'll pull the wall in tight. Probably could even get another piece. Just gonna have to go over the tracks. But any little pressure is better than nothing. Yeah, that helped. Big time. There we go. I had something semi heavy to sit on there. I don't really have anything heavy. Nope. I need like I need those 1, 2, 3 blocks like Adam Savage uses on Tested. They're nice little square, very accurately square blocks, but they have some weight to them, and you can just sit them down on things. But I'm gonna let that sit. Like I said, I can see here in the notch it's sitting in pretty good. I think we finally got, and then like I said, I like to keep checking that joint. And that joint looks great. I think we're doing pretty good. Man, she is a big beast. Oh my goodness. I always wanted a sandcrawler, believe it or not. Just because it's an odd Star Wars vehicle. It's not like X-Wing or Falcon where everybody wants those. But yeah, then this crazy piece goes on there. Imagine it would sit, judging by it, yeah, it sits. Does it set up high like that, or does it come down a little more? I think it sets up high. Judging by that hole and that hole. That one's right there, and that one's right there, yeah, so it might overhang down a little bit. But it can't be too much up here. And that's cool. Gotta clean all that up and get those glued together. And then see how we get power into this part. Probably through here. We have this opening here, which probably corresponds with that open up top, up here. I bet you this ledge goes with this ledge, which, you know, they did a really good design on these. Yeah, so I could come in here and then drill right up through for the control stuff. But let's let this set. I'm very happy that we filled that because we had a little bit of gap, and I think a lot of that was because this was drooping down. Well, before we get any further, we got to get some wires running in here before we get to a place where we can't really get down in here very easily. So what I decided is I'm going to have a light down here. There's going to be a conveyor belt that sits right over top of here, and then we have the perforated grid plate here, so some light can get down that way, and some light can get kind of down here. I'm not sure how far that comes out, but it's going to be dark down here, so I wanted to get some type of lighting down here. So there's a pipe here on the side detail that's hollow, you know, besides some support structure in there, but I could get through there no problem. And I'm thinking I have an LED light bulb that I might break apart, and it's got little short LED pieces right there. Unless I run a little strip light, I could always do that too. That'd be pretty incognito. That would probably be easier. I was thinking, what I was originally thinking, which is why I started thinking of these, is putting a light on each back of these support structures here. And then from the back, you would never, you know, from looking this way, this is the only way you're really going to see in. You wouldn't see him back there, but it would give some glow of light. But then I figured it would get too bright probably back here. But if I put one here and on the understep on this side, I think would be fine. But if I can use LED tape, because all you'll see is the little fixture. Yeah, so I'm going to use LED strip. And then I have a warm white, because I really want to use a warm white. So I got 6 ceiling lights. Do I do those in a warm, or do I do those in a cold? See, that'll go there, and then I can pop these, and that's where, exactly where every one of these tubes are. Except for this side, which is weird. But this side has it for each area where there's a tube. You got an opening already. So I don't know if the maker of this had that intended. I want that kind of incandescent bulb feel. Like the cockpit's going to have yellow light or warm white. Because that's how it would have been lit back in the 70s. And I want that kind of, you know, so maybe I'll do warm white in these. And I can do cool white down here like it's a shop light. You know how like shop lights, fluorescents are going to be a little more, they're white instead of an incandescent bulb, which is more warm. Yeah, we really never know until we start testing the lights I have, but maybe that's what I do. Warm white and then more of an orangish yellow. What we got in here? There's a white, which is probably more the cool white. There's a yellow. So we got a 3 mil, 5 mil of that. And we got lots of different colors. Here's the warm whites. So we'll have to see what those look like. We'll check the 5s. I like to keep the 3. Then there's the yellow 5s. Those are the yellow. We'll look at the yellow 5s. And then we got here, this is a blue, a green. See, there's a yellow green. What were we looking for again? A battery. Well, battery's so much easier. You can just twist it, and instead of having to get these probes out, make sure we're at 3 volts. No, not 12 volts. I usually have it set to 9, but we're not going to have a resistor on these, so we need to bring it down. There we go, 3 volts. Alrighty. Let's blue to yellow. What are we gonna check? Well, let's see what the yellow looks like. Orange would be interesting too. Is it really orange or is it more of an amber? But I'm really curious what these greenish yellows would look like. It's piqued my curiosity. It's probably got that sickly yellow look, is what I'm thinking. See, this is, now I gotta use 2 hands. No, I can't put clamping in that because it's, can't clamp it in that because it's metal. The wires are always going to be in your way. And that's the other problem is they want. Well, it's hard to tell what voltage. These will tell you too what voltage they need. 2 to 2.4. Well, I'm a little high. There's 2.4. Yeah, it's kind of a sickly. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it. Yeah, it's like a sickly yellow. But that's definitely not something we want. You probably weren't able to even see it. I wish I had the battery. This would be so much easier. Yeah, that's a weird color. It's looking more like... Oh. Yeah, that's a little more too much in the red. Yeah, that's definitely not where I want to be. But let me pause here for a sec. I need to find a battery. I think it's, I'm not getting quite the effect that it needs. Okay, there we go. See, I don't think I was getting a good connection trying to do that. So it wasn't giving me the right voltage, which if you don't get the right voltage, you're not going to get the right color. But I believe that's, I mean, that wouldn't be bad in there. It would be quite low, so it would be kind of like that and that. And I could actually keep, I'm noticing I could actually keep the round. Sometimes I'll cut the, take a grinder and cut this flat to get the light to disperse. But since this is in such close quarters, I think that sourcey light would be fine. I think that would be a little more realistic. The orange isn't too bad in here, because it would sit probably like that. And then one's here, and then one's right there. So we'll look at these. Because a lot of times, like here's the warm white. Let's see how actually warm these are. Alright, don't all jump out at once. Oh, those are quite warm. I think those would work great. For lights like that. Let's see what the yellows say. A little warm white worked pretty good. That yellow looks like an orange. Let's make sure we don't have something backwards. No. That yellow looks like an orange. That yellow almost looks like more like an orange than the orange. The thing I like about them, so the yellow would probably work too. The thing I like about them is they're dim, so it's to scale. Like the white lights are very bright. Yeah, I think it's just whatever my preference are. I think the yellow would be more industrial kind of looking. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the yellow. I think. I keep flipping, but I think the yellow. The orange would be more of a. The yellow kind of, I think, gives it a more of a realism. Like they like it a little on the dark side, but it's more like in that color frame of what a true big light like that would be. So either yellow or orange it's gonna be. Leaning more towards the yellow for a realism, but I'm not counting out the orange for more of a my own take on it. I'm not going to need any of those. And then we're going to do flickering bulbs in here to make it look like there's a fire in there. And then we'll see what we can find for down here. What are these? The green. Now, let's see how cool white. I know these are a cool white. Let's see how cool white these are. I'm hoping they're a little more on the warmer spectrum. That's not bad. I don't know if I can see the circles. I don't know if I have any warm white. I'd like to have not a high density one. See, that's a little more on the warmer side than those. Boy, now I'm not going to be able to see. It's like I'm almost going to have to at least have one ready so I can hit the other one. See how that's a little more warmer? It's not warm, but it's a little more warmer compared to. Hopefully I got the polarities right on this one. Probably not. That one's a little cooler. So even that wouldn't be that bad. But that would be a smaller light source. Where I like this. I like how that's gonna fit across there, a light there, a light there, and a light there, instead of all three being really close together. I don't know. I mean, I think I'd be okay with a cool white down there. So I might go with these and use them up. I can dab a little yellow on them to, transparent yellow to dim them down a little bit. Or even white, I notice will dim, to bring the tone down. But I think if I use a little bit of a transparent yellow. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use one of these. And then we'll decide between the orange and the yellow once I'll put a couple in it and put the lid on and see how I like it. Let's get this hole drilled, 2 holes drilled into this guy. Alright. Are you kidding? And now that made burrs and I can't get in there. Get rid of those burrs. There we go. Perfect. Watch my fingers. I like how this plastic drills out real easy. Nice. The step drills make a cleaner hole too, especially in plastic, because it doesn't want to pull through. It's not a spiral bit. It looks like I could probably step it up one more. In the back part of it. Yeah. Since this is so thick and I'm using the shorter steps, and of course the way this prints, it prints a solid bottom here, and then the rest are what they call an infill, which is just usually a grid, or you can make it up how you want it to do it. You can do a honeycomb or whatever. That way it doesn't use solid, this whole detail, or like say this detail here, it's not solid plastic. It's actually solid on the outsides, but then the rest of it will be a grid. I use a grid. You can use a honeycomb or whatever. That way it doesn't use a lot of plastic for all this little part, because then it's hollow inside in like grids like this. But being so, I can drill the back a little bigger. To fit that 5mm bulb in there. And then when I get to that top surface, it's hitting. And that makes that look like that glass is back there a little further. Nice. Now I don't know if we're going to have a sickly green fire right here. But then that's going to be our effect. Except it'll have a flickering bulb. And not green. Yeah, so we're going to have to cut the domes off here. That way we won't have 2 flashlights shining from the back of the ship to the front. Let's make sure, always make sure, do tests. She's working and she is flickering. So that'll give us that fire effect. So I'll say I'll get my little cutting wheel. Oh, it's already on here. Actually, you know what? No, I can try. I know the stone one works a little better for just LEDs. Oh, I could be wrong. That's working great. And all I'm doing is just chopping that top off. And then trying to make it, you know, flat as pearl as well. Now the nice thing is it also frosts that bulb up, which also will diffuse the light. And then I'll show you the difference between, see now I have like that flickering, like even that is not as bright in your face, but if you look on the table, it's not a focused light anymore. Where if it doesn't make a liar out of me, Now here we still have that focused light, which means now if I point that at you, yeah, it's like a flashlight hitting you. That's a simple way to diffuse your engine lights or anything you don't want to be a flashlight. And like I said, now I don't have until I get like way close, and that's more of a just distance than anything. But you can get way out here, and then compared to this one with the bent legs, so it's hard to see. Even here you get out to here, it kind of looks the way it is, but even still, you still have that really sourcey light. But you always have that source, or you have that, you'll get the lens flare. But now that's gonna be more like a hot flame in there. We don't have that sourcey light. Try to get it as square as possible. No. Now, is there anything else I want to make light up in here? I've thought about making my own little windows for each one of these. Maybe just drill one hole in whatever that's supposed to be. Do a red and a green. This one we won't worry about. And then drill some holes in these and just backlight that. These I'll stick fiber optics through. Yeah, why not? So let's see what size. Because I can just always, we're going to have those there. I can just backlight this, like I said, as long as I seal all this up really good, I shouldn't have any problem with any light leaking through here. So it's not like I have to build light boxes and stuff. That's what I'm mainly not wanting to get into. But I'm going to pause because I'm going to probably run out of camera, and then I'll get these drilled out. So I got the LED strips soldered together. I did a little test. This is going to go up into the top for the power source. This is going to lead over to these guys. And then I got resistors there for these guys. I painted them up a little bit of yellow and red to kind of give a fiery glow. See if I can. So we got like a little fiery glow going on in there, and with them flickering it'll look like a fire. So we're ready to solder them. They're glued in. I hit them with a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red and mixed the red and the yellow up a little bit to kind of give it some, you know, marbling kind of look to it. And then I hit it with a clear gloss. Now we got to get these resistors on, but what we can do here with the negatives, I made sure the negatives were close to each other, and then I can easily just do this. This little tool has a notch and it grabs these, and we can bend them over to each other and solder them together. And then we'll bend one of the tabs up. And that way we can just run one solder joint for the negative. There we go. That saves you on time and wire. You just take one of these. We'll go with this one. And we just bend it up for a little post to solder our wire to, and this other one we can just cut a little short so it looks a little cleaner. And let's get these resistors on. I wonder if I should test to make sure. I like leaving everything long, so we can twist. We can even slide that up and down, but to get a good twist around with the resistor. But I'm wondering if I should test to make sure that resistor's doing what I want. Probably should. Yeah, there we go. Now is that the intensity I want? Because I'm trying to bring it down a hair. Now we gotta do this and this. Well, you falling forward like that. Let's try pushing up. There we go. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Alright, so we're good to solder those. Come in here and trim off excess. We can get rid of this big post here. That way all we have is a resistor. And if everything plays out right, we can probably tie the two resistors together and have one bring these two resistors over and we can have one spot just for the resistor. And then I'm seeing, oh, and then I drilled 3 holes per these doors. I think I'm going to do a white and then a green and a red. And maybe do a white and then a red and a green. I don't know. Make it look like you hit things and it switches. I don't know. But, and then these will do different colors. We might get a little glow from these glowing bulbs, but I'm going to hit those with tulip too to blacken those out. But all this is going to come on at the same time. I'm not going to have any switching since it's battery powered unless I have switches in the ship. Because I was thinking about having switches for the where this is going to sit and the ladder down by the tracks. I want to have a light on each side here. But I'm just going to have all this stuff turn on at one time. And this I got to figure out. I think what I'm going to do is notch and then notch this way. This will be glued to the bottom of the ship, of the vehicle, so you won't even see those wires, but I'll make little trenches and then glue the lights in and then glue this up, and then all you'll see is just a couple little wires coming out to a little light fixture, which will kind of look normal. And then here it'll go back, it'll be hidden by, you know, the tracks and stuff, and then I have a way to get it up into the top from there. But we'll have it all hidden where that center thing is, where the axle goes. I can tuck it right in this. I have a little bit of a gap there. I can tuck the wire up in there. If I use magnet wire, I can make it look like it's just wiring that the Jawas ran for, you know, repairs or stuff too. So that's what's so great about this ship. I could run wires, especially if I use the magnet wire, and it'll look like wiring or conduit or just things that the Jawas did. A little more detail. So now what we can do is we can take these two, like I said, carefully bend them over, because you can break those at the probes, and just give it a twist. And I could have put shrink tube around all that too, which usually I like to, and I'm a little, well, it's not too late, but we'll be fine. Nothing really going to be back here. It's just this wiring here. And we can do that. We twisted those together. Might as well solder them together. Like I said, this saves you on time of running little jumpers and all that stuff. And the nice thing about using these as fiber optics is I can paint, do whatever I need to do, and then later on stick the fiber optics in. And then they'll just catch the light. Alright, so we got that. We can clip that excess off, and now we're ready to join these together, get these glued to the back, and I can permanently glue that in because there's no reason to be back here anymore once we do a light test.